Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing this morning? If you guys can hear me. Hopefully you can. Market's getting ready to open here any moment. Testing. How's it going, Miles? Can you hear me? I'm assuming you can. All right, great. Appreciate that. Hopefully you're doing well and staying healthy. Quick review here. Crude oil in the upper middle chart. Got into a long trade, which stopped out. Small trade, 13 ticks. Waiting for a new setup. Unleaded gas fared a little differently. We'll look at that in a moment. I want to pull your attention to the Dow E-mini here, the YM. There's a short at 35,989, and that's targeting 959. Did just trigger in. It's also targeting 942, 925, and 908, and the stop is at 36,031. That one getting short right away. Good morning, John and Pamela. Nice to see you guys. Money management on the YM is at 962. As you know, if we can get to that level, move our stops to break even. And it did. It did just hit that. Move your stops. Just hit our first target. That's a nice way to start the session. Stop is now at 981. And just finished, stopping out. So really quick trade, power of quitting, 30 points. YM is finished. Crude oil had the right idea, but unfortunately, the trade setup was too small for this move. Had a real tight consolidation in here, and it got long, but then stopped out and unfortunately missed the move higher. Counterpunch, on the other hand, which works totally different, was able to pick, well, Counterpunch didn't have the long trade. Instead, there was a short setup, and pretty smart to adjust around. This bar on the left here would have kept you safe, and it looks like it went in and out really quickly, and then now it's long. Counterpunch getting long. And the reason why it did not get long here on these three dots, normally it would, but the histogram never got into the red, which is a requirement for a white trade. which is what this would have been. And so it had to wait for the next set of exhaustion for the green setup. Maybe that came a little bit too late. So we'll find out how that works out. Unleaded gas this morning got short, hit its money management level, and the stop moved down for tiny profit, then got long and hit a small target 1 for 18 ticks and almost hit target 2 and barely missed, and then stopped out. So 2 money management trades, power of quitting, that trade plan's done. Good morning, John Ford. Pound Aussie did get short, 8883. Stop is at 8906. It's targeting 8868, 5950, and 8841. Let me know if you have any questions about any of that. Got the new Catapult Trader beta version. I'll have the full version before the boot camp coming up. You can see the short here right at the open. Really nice move down using the custom Renko chart. Good morning to you, Dan. So I haven't officially sent out the announcements yet for the boot camp, but we have a date now and a time, and I will tell you that this Catapult boot camp later this month, it's going to be on Tuesday, January 25th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. And I'll send out links for that to whoever is enrolled. Sorry to type in your ear, you guys. Just looking at counterpunch here on crude oil. A little bit out of step, but it did stop and reverse to short. It's currently short from not from 79, but from 77. And already hit its money management. Stops would be moved to break even at this point. Take a quick look at the NQ as well. This is a chart that has been very interesting. It's a similar custom Renko chart. Waiting 4 minutes. A lot of price action here. Some of these trades happen too fast, and that's not always a bad thing. Able to avoid a trade like this, which would not have worked out, but too fast to execute. This one, on the other hand, looks like it was doable. Some of the Monday jitters showing up here. A lot of up, down, up, down. Haven't looked at this for a while here, but the soybeans with counterpunch getting short on this purple trade and hitting its targets for a one and done. And I mean, here's a case where you have a trade being tracked from back here at 726, but then a add-on trade that you could take. So regardless, either taking the add-on trade or getting in sync with the prior trade, both working out really well. Target 2 hit here. Soybeans continues to be very efficient with that first trade of the session, usually winning most of the time with counterpunch. So meanwhile, crude oil, after losing its first trade, did get short, came down and hit targets 1 and 2, originally losing 13 ticks on that first trade, but then able to gain 17 ticks on target 1, 26 ticks on target 2, and then stopping out. So 2 trades, that's your power of quitting trade for Monday morning with Spotlight and crude oil. So that one working out. Power of quitting, of course, lets us take what the market wants to give us while allowing us to quit our session with a positive result the majority of the time and control our drawdowns with minimal and efficient trading. Very important. Pound Aussie didn't get very far. It did turn around and come up and stop out. That's going to need another trade. I'm not sure if anyone in here is trading that, but unfortunately that one didn't work out so well this morning, although crude oil started with a loss and then ended up winning mildly. So it happens sometimes. Sometimes really great trades follow that initial losing trade. On Wednesday, I was showing you guys a nice options trade. Maybe it was Monday, last week in USO. This is one of my favorite markets to trade options with. And you could see, I think it must have been Wednesday. What was Wednesday? Last Wednesday was the 5th. So on the 5th, well, on the 4th, it had already come up and hit target 1. A couple days later, it gapped up, hitting target 2. The stop is up to here now, and there's still this position remaining. and any trailers. I'm not trailing, I'm just trading to the targets in this particular chart. But really nice trade. And that's after this purple one, which was fantastic. This green one here, that was just not tradable because it gapped through the entry, stabbed down to targets. And so at that point, that trade, if had it been placed, should be canceled. So last two trades, some nice winners. And just going back, I have the add-ons showing here, but I don't use those. I just use the primary setups. The white trade was a winner. The green trade. This is a case where it did gap through, just like that short trade, but it had not yet hit its target one, so the trade is not canceled. And then when it came down, it gets filled here on the entry. Really nice trade. You just keep going back and keep finding winners. This has been a chart that's worked for years. With counterpunch, you can just see we haven't even seen a loser yet. I guess I should turn off the add-ons. They could be distracting if you're not used to it. That trade was filtered out and it gapped through the entry anyway. Here's a losing trade. Another winner. Perfect target. Another winner. This one goes all the way back to here. You get the idea. When you find a chart like this, it's good to take advantage of it. You can go back years and see it working like this. That's why I always say, when you're building your roster of charts that you're going to swing trade, do it symbol by symbol, one at a time. It's worth the effort. You put in the effort, you build a roster of charts that you can prove, you can see they win a lot, and then you've got something that's actually worth a lot more than the time and effort required to build such a roster of symbols. It's amazing how much resistance I get from people when I give them this advice. Is anybody trading Bitcoin? Bitcoin hitting 40,000 and actually cracking below it this morning. Seems like a lot, 40,000, but it was up over 70,000 or close to 70,000. It got as high as 69,950 on the futures contract. And the reason I bring it up is because actually I did a video and I haven't posted it yet, but this futures contract, this is using counterpunch as well. And this futures contract on the CME, it's an excellent proxy. I use this to make trade decisions in Bitcoin. You can't really short Bitcoin unless you're trading the futures contract. There is a micro now, but I do use this to make decisions on whether I'm going to add to my Bitcoin position or not. I have one inside of a self-directed retirement account. And you think when I'm in a short trade with the counterpunch that I'm going to be buying? Probably not. Just hit target 2. Look at that, right on the nail. We've been watching counterpunch predict these price projections for years and years, and it still fascinates me how accurate it can be. This white trade, for example, that's just a reprint of the gray trade. The gray trade was the actual setup. filtered out because it's in the chop zone. I don't even know if that's an effective filter for this chart. This is just a copy and paste default settings. But look how accurate the target is. Target 3 comes down, stabs down right to it before heading higher, right at the 200 moving average. But keep in mind, it was projected here, or this long trade, which missed its target 3 by a hair. Each target adjusting. This one here, well, it canceled. That's no trade. This one looks like it triggers in, except that you really have to put on a realistic entry. This is just a copy paste, and it's 2 ticks above the high of the bar. I mean, I'd probably put 100 ticks on a symbol like this. It's trading up in the near 70,000. 2 ticks is not enough. But the concept I always tell you guys, that the fake breakout or the breakout to new highs here without any follow through often leads to a strong move in the opposite direction. Well, look what happened. Pretty strong move. It's kind of a weird looking either double top, or you might even call it a head and shoulders pattern if you consider the left shoulder here, the head here, and the right shoulder here maybe. So with traditional technical analysis, maybe you put a neckline right there, it breaks below the neckline. You can measure the distance between the top of the head to the neckline and project down. Probably get you pretty close to somewhere in between the 50 and 200 moving average. Then it's just been sitting on that average, keeps trying to break through, closing below it, above it, below it, above it, but then finally capitulating lower. And how far will it go? Well, it's hard to say, but my guess is that good chance it'll at least get close to target 3 here. I mean, it may not, you never know, but from what we know about counterpunch, what we've seen with these targets, there's a good chance it'll get there. It did get really close to it got right to the target too, but with the 50 pushing down, the real test will come when the 50 and the 200 join together, or the 50 starts crossing below the 200. You can see the 200's already started to curl lower. You could expect a retest. My guess is that it will rally. You're going to have people afraid to miss the opportunity to get Bitcoin so far down off its highs. The buyers will come in and it'll come up and retest this 200. Support becomes resistance. We'll see if that holds and it heads lower or what. There's no way to know, of course, for sure. And if you are a Bitcoin investor, you could start cost averaging. Maybe. I don't know. I mean, as prices keep heading lower, pick up a little more, pick up a little more. Several ways to handle this, but I like to use the futures contract as a roadmap to what seems likely. And I think lower prices seem likely, but that doesn't mean that's what will happen. And if it does, who knows when. But I do think it's also likely to see a bounce and a retest of the 200 moving average, because we've seen that level hold a lot and be magnetic. You can go back and see here as well, support right around the same place it's at now, give or take. Let's see how close that is. Yeah, see? Sitting right at the same level where it found support in the past. And then if you go back further, you could also see that that 200 moving average has gravity here. It looks like it's going to capitulate lower, and it comes up, it retests a few times, and then rallies again. So, but that's down at 30,000. Now we're up at 40. So John with interesting comment, Kraken allows margin-based longs and shorts on Bitcoin directly. Yeah, I'm sure, that's starting to happen more and more. I don't know enough. It's an ever-changing environment, the world of trading crypto, and I'm not your expert. But knowing that with the futures contract, you could put on Counterpunch, Spotlight, one of those two. I think Counterpunch is fine. That's what I like for swing trading. And you could use that to guide your decisions, regardless of which broker you trade with. You could also use MT4. There's a lot of Forex brokers that allow you to trade Bitcoin versus other currencies and other cryptos as a Forex cross, Forex pair, and Counterpunch works on MT4 really well. So that's another option. It's another way to go, and you can go really small, of course, with micros. Of course, you could trade any size pretty much with Bitcoin in the spot market as well. Meanwhile, check out the sell-off. The Russell down 33 points. Some pretty nice looking trades happening in here. This short trade holding and coming down to a target 2. The long trade. The way I have the money management set up, it didn't get high enough. So then it stopped and reversed here, a little bit below the last entry. And then that has pushed down through 4 targets. Again, I'm just, getting the feel for it. This is not a tested trade plan or anything. And I do have the exhaustion dots on this chart. And what's interesting is how on the third exhaustion dot is typically where the counterpunch setup is. Not always, but often on this chart. And as I was showing you earlier, I think it was last week, you could use the counterpunch targeting. You don't have to use catapult. You know how accurate counterpunch can be. Counterpunch gives you a bigger stop and bigger targets, which maybe give this kind of chart more room to develop. Although catapult does a really good job too. It's just a different approach. I'll be right back, you guys. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, you guys. Got the 10 a.m. mini session about to start on crude oil. Of course, if anyone has any questions, feel free to type them in about whatever. Well, crude oil did get short here. Got short at 78.24. And it's just hit its money management level. And its target one, just hit it right on the nail, I think, at 03. Yep. So this mini session will have its power of quitting goals. Blasting right on down through its target 2 now, trying to get to target 3, which is at 77.78. The stop is at 78.16. So you got to wonder, at least I'm wondering, how far down this sell-off is going to be. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was talking about this, I don't remember when, last week, a couple weeks ago. I know it was on the SPY. I thought I had identified a head and shoulders. Oh, it was with the Trade Hacking Club. And we'll look at that in a moment. But on the Qs, definitely more defined. You could see a very easy left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. And now breaking the neckline. It seemed like this might have been a right shoulder here as well. This is almost like before, like a head with two right shoulders. But now look, pretty big sell-off happening. It even gapped through the setup here. Anyone wanting to buy put options, maybe grab it on a pullback. Support becomes resistance. You can see that happened right at the neckline. Coming up to retest that is possible, and if it does, it could be a good place to get short. The entry's at 377.99, right at a key level, right below 380. And really getting short anywhere in here doesn't have to be exact. Go with put options. Go several months out. Get something slightly in the money. 380, maybe. Or even 379, somewhere in there. You'd have to check and see, but any one of those options with several months on it should be fine. There's always a risk, but that's a pretty decent trade. If it comes back up and retests and support truly becomes resistance, and you can see the 50 moving average is already curled down, the 200 starting to curl as well, and these targets, as we know, have done really well, and it's very target one's hiding behind the 200 moving average. It's sitting right on it. But can this get all the way down here close to that's weird. Oh, that's target one here. I'm a little confused. I'm looking at target two thinking it's target three, but I'm like, target three is at 329 and this is at 341. So it gives you an idea on what to expect. Doesn't mean it's going to get here. It's definitely got a ways to go, but we've got the COVID virus doubling in a week in the US. We've got inflation, fears, all kinds of stuff. Prices reflecting the fear in the market. And that head and shoulders is no joke. So look at the SPY. So when we did the trade hacking club, I had pointed this out as a possible head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And I said if it breaks the neckline, watch out below. Well, it didn't break the neckline. It came almost to the neckline. And then it came up again. And so now you got to wonder, is this the head? Is this the left shoulder? Or this, or any of these, really? They're all around the same place. And will it come up again? Will the right shoulder form before it capitulates, or what? Who knows? Maybe it's not a head and shoulders at all. Maybe it's just a big, long consolidation and the rally resumes. Whoops. There are no... Well, let's see. I think I only have green trades turned on here. Let's see. Right, so if we were to turn on a white trade, purple trade, maybe we get a little more insight. Yeah, so now you can see where some potential targets are. Target one being right above that neckline. Pretty cool looking chart, huh? This is with a micro Russell, kind of test driving a little bit. Anybody have any questions about anything? All right, guys. Well, if there aren't any other questions, I guess I'm going to call this session over. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will make a few announcements really quick before I let you go. As I said earlier, the Catapult Russell Bootcamp I posted that in the comments. It's going to be on Tuesday, January 25th at 12 noon. There will not be a live trade room on that day due to the boot camp. And next week, it looks like next week I may not be available because, well, first of all, Monday the 17th is a holiday. It's MLK Day. And on the 19th, I believe, is when I'm doing the Wealth 365 presentation. And so that's a day I won't be able to do the trade room either. So looks like I'll see you on Wednesday, and I'll certainly remind you. And if anybody wants the link for the Wealth 365 event, lots of great speakers throughout the week on that one. Hit me up on the Trade Hacking Club Discord channel. Get you guys the link. John asking how many hours the boot camp goes. It's always hard to predict that, John. It's gone 4 hours or more is usually a good guess. The entire thing will be recorded and the recordings will be made available. So I don't expect everyone to be able to make it live. That's usually what happens. But that's a good guess. Does the boot camp include Ninja Custom Ranko install? There is a link for that. I'm not sure. I don't know if I understand the question. You could certainly install it. When did you say sign up for the VIP member links? Yeah, so John, if you're a VIP member, you're already in. It's just a matter of making sure you get the email with the link for the boot camp. The indicators have not been made available yet. They typically become available the day before. If I could have them sooner, then VIP members will get them sooner. So I'll let you know if that happens. And Don Parker, I still don't quite understand your question. Yeah. I don't see an issue, though. I mean, the Uniranko is the plugin that we're recommending at this point for Ninja. John, are you referring when you say when will the email go out? I'm not sure which email. I've got so many emails. As information becomes available, emails will go out. And anyway, you're in here. You'll hear me announce it probably even before the email, and I'll certainly put it in the Trade Hacking Club on the Discord channel. So you'll hear about it. No worries. I'm not sure how long the delay is between my talking and your responding, so I'll just hang out here for a few moments longer. Make sure all your questions get answered. All right, everybody. Don't forget, John will be in here tomorrow, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Have a great day. See you then.